Welcome to Backyard Cigars. And this is my father, No.1, Robusto. This is 5 1/4 by 52. It sports an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper in the Rosado color. The binder is from Nicaragua and the filler is from Nicaragua. My Father Cigars puts out a lot of Nicaraguan puros, but the father and son team also know how to blend using different tobaccos and different types of wrapper. So they keep it interesting. Don Jose Pepin Garcia. That is the founder of he's sort of the founder of My Father Cigars. He's really not. His son Jaime is. Jaime was the one who thought of naming the company My Father as an homage to his father. But there's no doubt about it where all the inspiration came from, where all of the hard work and dedication was put in, was not just by himself, but with the help of his father, Jose Pepin Garcia. So we know from previous bits of information that Jose Pepin Garcia, he came to Miami, he immigrated to Miami from Cuba in 2003. So when you look back at a lot of the histories that I've talked about in regards to some of the Cuban cigar makers, a lot of them, or their parents before them, left 61 to 63 during the time that it got really hectic out there in Cuba with Castro. But Don Jose Pepin Garcia did not leave till 2003. And he was a roller with blending experience in Cuba. He brought that to Miami, and with the help of his son, they were able to really get it going in terms of putting out high quality premium cigars. When I think of My Father Cigars, I kind of think of them in the way that I think about Padrones. They're no-brainers. You know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get high quality. You're gonna get great blending. In the case of Padrone, they kind of stick to one type of recipe in regards to the puros, unless you're listening to the conspiracy theories about what they may or may not be doing with their wrappers. But with My Father Cigars, you get a lot of Nicaraguan puros, but you get a lot of creativity in the blending and in the wrappers. Whether it's Pelo de Oro wrapper or Pelo de Oro filler, they really get it done. If you like an aromatic cigar, then you like what My Father puts out, because this is another example of a really great smelling cigar. Excellent smoke output and a great draw. Draw is better than I expected it to be, actually. I'm getting an initial spiciness with tobacco, natural tobacco, a little bit of pepper, And I feel some sweetness kicking in, but it hasn't really put its foot down and introduced itself the way I would like it to. But I have a feeling that may happen. I'm just getting it now, and I'm only about an inch in, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more time to develop, and I'll be right back. So I've been enjoying it quite a bit, and I'm happy to report that this cigar has been burning slowly, and the burn line has been very nice indeed, very nice. So I got a little bit of leather and an intensity of pepper, along with that spicy character that I have been getting all along from the very beginning. I suspect that may be due to the Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. I mentioned how Jaime and his father, Jose Don Pepin Garcia, are a father and son team that are doing incredible things within the cigar industry. But I've got some special videos that are coming up, and I consider them special because they're going to go a little deeper than just one particular cigar, but the cigar industry as a whole. And these videos are going to touch base on women and cigars. And a lot has been written about women and cigars lately, and rightfully so. But I'm going to highlight some of the things that I've learned and things that I'd like to share with you in regards to how important women are to the cigar world. Whether we acknowledge it or not, that's a different story, but they are, and I'm going to prove it. So when I think of what I just said in regards to Jaime and his father, Don Pepin, it would be really cool if one day we can get to the point when we're talking about Viviana and her daughter. You know, Viviana is the founder of Viviana Cigars, who produces cigars on the island of Dominican Republic. And I'm going to touch base on her story just a little bit when I talk about these things. But it would be really cool if in the future, instead of just focusing on all of these great men, and they're all great men in the cigar world, and I love them all, if we could have some of that love for the women behind the cigars and be talking about a mother and daughter duo that have gotten together to do similar things to what the men have done. And that's just a thought that popped into my head as I thought about my father's cigars. How about my mother's cigars? Just a thought. Earthy cedar, natural tobacco, a hint of sweetness, spicy pepper notes. It has transitioned. I haven't had to ash it once. This is it. This has been from the beginning. Slow burner, but burning at a good pace, I would say. I don't want to say it's too slow. It's burning just right. Really is a lovely aroma, and it really is a smooth and sensual cigar. It's just hitting the keynotes. It brings on the natural tobacco flavor. Occasionally it layers that with some spicy character. And then you get a hint of sweetness in the finish, which I rather like. There's some leather in the background, but it's not prominent. I'm gonna take a little bit more time with this. Probably let the ash off, and I'll get right back. So usually I do a quick recap on the cigar itself, but today I'm not. Today I just want to tell you that this is one fine stick. It's a stick you should try. If you haven't had My Father's cigars, this is a good one to begin with. Not just because it's labeled as #1, but because it's a medium to full-bodied cigar. Not one of their powerhouse cigars. Certainly smooth enough. If you like a little pepper, it gives you that. If you like a little sweetness, it gives you that. If you like natural tobacco, and who doesn't, it gives you that. So those are things that I look for in a quality cigar. And if you happen to like a good smelling cigar, then this is one for you as well. But I want to add how important it is for me to learn about everything that goes into a cigar, and how I put such a high emphasis on the history of the cigar, and how it came to be, and the people behind it. And I do so because it generally interests me to learn about the men behind the product and the women behind the products. That's right. There are cigars that are currently being made by women. And all of the history behind a cigar company, a cigar maker is so important to me, and that's why I share it with you. And when I branch out and I talk about something different, like how I mentioned women and cigars, it's because I want to expand my horizons in how I look at cigars and how I look at the cigar community. We have to embrace diversity, and we also have to embrace the fact that this should not be an industry that is solely dominated by one gender. And if you disagree, that's fine. But this is what I am thinking, and this is how I'm feeling. And I will leave you with that. And until next time, My Father's Cigars, #1 Robusto.